single-handedly, the Doha conference collapsed the government of Afghanistan and everything we achieved for the past 20 years. Single-handedly, the Doha is the reason for the Afghanistan devastation.
We know that the U.S. is funding the Taliban with $40 million to $87 million a week. Is there any other funding or aid that the U.S., NATO, any other countries is giving Taliban and/or any other terrorist organizations?
Well, there are many rumors about it, that the Taliban's GDI are being funded.
What is the GDI?
GDI is the Taliban, this notorious KGB of the Taliban, basically,
Okay.
CIA of the Taliban, and this intelligence sector of the Taliban, which is very notorious for imprisoning people, torturing people, raping people, disappearing people, kids, women, men. It's a very notorious entity. However, there are some rumors that it has been supported in exchange for information on Al-Qaeda and the other terrorist groups. Or
Supported by whom?
well, there are rumors that it has been supported by the Western funds. It's just a rumor. Once again, I don't have evidence to provide in this case. One of the things that I always try to be is to be very honest about what I say. And politic of honesty, I believe, is the best form of politic. I don't have any evidence about it, but there are rumors that for cooperation there has been some funding. But apart from that, from World Bank to the Bank of Asia, which they are going to attend the Doha conference in a few days, there are sort of evidence in that regard that there are some supports giving to the Taliban from those entities. So therefore, in terms of funding, directly that's almost 70 to 87 million weekly, and this indirect settings and meetings that's happening regularly, and this engagement and sharing of information that is happening regularly, and also according to Cigar, that for the past 3 years, $17 billion has been sent to the Taliban.
$17 billion.
$17 billion, according to Cigar, if I'm not mistaken.
Let's talk about the Doha conference when we're talking about support for the Taliban. Can you explain what the Doha conference is?
Doha conference was an initiative at the beginning to end war in Afghanistan and to bring Taliban to the table for negotiation and talk. The intention at the beginning, so the intention was serene. The intention was right. The way it was handled and managed, it was absolutely awful. And it made it in a way that today when you mention Doha, it brings nightmares to the girls and women and men of Afghanistan. Because Doha, with giving Taliban office, it elevates them at one point, which providing them with sort of an opportunity to travel to Moscow to attend the Moscow conference and other area. They flew from Pakistan and they flew from Doha. It was a second elevation. And the third was this peace process, this negotiation directly with America, which we always thought that Americans would never negotiate with terrorists. That happened. That negotiation and talk, it elevated Taliban to another aspect. And because it was managed and handled in the worst way possible, and with no condition, and with no regard to the people of Afghanistan, to the government of Afghanistan, at the end, single-handedly, the Doha conference collapsed the government of Afghanistan and everything we achieved for the past 20 years. Single-handedly, the Doha is the reason for the Afghanistan devastation.
Who is at the Doha conference?
In Doha conference, which happened, it was first the negotiation talk, it was between the Taliban and it was between the United States of America. And then at later stages, they added some representatives from Afghanistan. In that deal, the Taliban promised on many things, but the deal was made in a way that they did not hold Taliban accountable for anything. It was not conditional on anything. The Taliban were, okay, we hope, or we promise, or we do this. There was no condition in it. It was very one-sided, and it was in a way, basically, to elevate Taliban and hand them over the power in Afghanistan. And that's what happened in Doha. That's why people in Afghanistan do not trust the Doha process. It's very unfortunate. It could be something that truly turn a new page for Afghanistan and create a new era. Bonn Conference, with all its flaws, was a new beginning for Afghanistan. And they remember Bonn as a new beginning. But Doha, it is a very dark stain in the history of Afghanistan.
You know, I'm surprised that. Let me start here. How many other Middle Eastern countries support Taliban and or other terrorist organizations? Because the reason I'm asking is because I'm surprised that Taliban was even able to send representatives to Doha to meet.
Well, there are some talks in Afghanistan among the politicians and the people that it would not be possible without the green light of United States of America. Qatar wouldn't be able to do it without a green light.
Are there any Middle Eastern countries that support Taliban or terrorism?
Well, the support can be defined in different ways and means. Just the fact that they have meeting, it can be translated and seen as a support. Well, it will be a shame to all those leaders of anyone in the Middle East or the region or the world to be seen with Taliban, a group that in 21st century go against all the values of mankind, go against all the values of the modern time, go against all the values of Islamic values. For example, preventing girls to go to school is against all the Islamic law. Even Boko Haram and Africa allow girls to go to school, but not Taliban. So it would be a shame to them that they try to show a different image of Islam. The leaders of Emirates, the leaders of Qatar, the leaders of Saudi or the other countries. And just to be seen with a group that prevent girls to go to school, commit such heinous crime, which I just showed you, just few images of it, just few sort of evidence of it. It is a shame, and I hope for them to never do such thing. In terms of a proper support in terms of funding and the rest, I don't know. I don't think the Taliban are in a position they need it because they have 2.5 billion internally that they don't answer to anyone and spend it for their own expenses. And the world and America is providing them with 70 million weekly to spend for the rest.
No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.